Hi, I'm Karen Teo from Facebook. Welcome to our Game Changers series, where we sit down and spend time with game industry leaders and, talk to them, find out about the things that they do with marketing, with game development, and how they've managed to bring their companies to the next level. Today with us is Kevin Xu from IGG. He's the COO of IGG, and we've seen some great changes that's happening with IGG. Thank you for coming and joining us today, Kevin. Just to set a little bit of context for the audience, IGG has been around for about 11 years. You guys went IPO in 2013, right? And through this 11 years, IGG has seen the evolution of gaming from PC online gaming, to web games, to now mobile games. And along this evolution, this path, not only have you guys evolved along with the industry, you've actually managed to come out really strong. You just told me about over 100% year-on-year growth this year, right?
Yes.
And you've got this amazing, successful game now called Lots Mobile. I would love for you to tell the audience the journey that IGG took along this 11 years of evolution, and anything you'd like the audience to learn from this.
Sure. I mean, yes, we started as a PC game company, and we used to publish and develop PC games. And then around 2008, that's when we saw the opportunity with Facebook games.
Right.
So actually, Facebook was the company that took us to this thing called globalization. And we first started only publishing games in English.
Right.
But through Facebook, we were able to develop our games into about 6 different languages. And Facebook got us into Russia, Germany, France, Italy, and all those European countries. That was the very first time we went on to those countries all by ourselves. And after that, then 3 years later, we saw the opportunity of mobile games. And then that's when we evolved again into a mobile game company. Again, with Facebook's help, we were able to develop our games into 19 different languages and publish into over 200 countries. And of course, marketing was done, a lot of the marketing was done through Facebook. So I think Facebook really helped us to do globalization.
That's really good to hear. And so help me understand how you guys are set up. You've got offices in Southeast Asia, in GCR, in the Greater China region, as well as North America. Mm-hmm. When you guys move and you change strategies, or when you decided to work on new platforms or new formats, how do you move the entire company to the same direction and get everything going quickly as you have?
Well, it's really determined by the market, because as I mentioned, globalization, that's our main focus. So in order to do that, in order to cater all the players from the globe, we have to have developers coming from different countries, a mixture of different cultures. And that's why we started to expand our offices into Canada, US, Singapore, and then Thailand, Japan, Korea, and now actually we just launched the office in Russia as well. And then the purpose to do that is to get people from different culture to build a game for for the global market. It is very important because globalization, that's what we're relying on.
So basically, you built a game for the global audience. It's not. I've seen a lot of companies where they build for the country in which they're based in. So like a lot of Chinese companies here, they develop games for Chinese market, it shows success, they bring it globally. So you guys do it the other way around.
Well, we started as building a game for China first and then take it outside.
Right.
But then that route does not really work. I mean, we've seen all the games that's being launched into the global market by Chinese developers. Actually, none of them was super successful. One of the reasons behind that is the cultural barrier. And our learning is that if we want to build a game for the global audience, start from the beginning. Target the global audience, design for the global audience, and then we develop the game. Not to do China first and then do global. When we first started, when we take the route of going China first, then global, our most successful game was doing only about $2 million a month for the global audience.
Right.
And that was prior to Facebook games. And then after we started our globalization, and then we had our very first hit called Castle Clash.
Right.
And that game does about $10 to $15 million per month.
That's amazing. So tell us a little bit more. I think this global development piece that you mentioned, how does that work? Where's the neural center? Like, all these, are the studios all in one place, or are they broken up across the world?
So actually, it's a funny thing. We're actually buying a hotel in Florence. And the reason for doing that is to, Florence is it's the beginning of Renaissance, right?
Yes.
And that's where all the culture, the Western culture started. And so we saw this hotel in Florence, which is about 300 yards from Michelangelo's sculpture in the middle of the city. And we figured, hey, it would be nice to send all my Chinese designers over there to be immersed in this Western culture. When they wake up in the morning, I won't send them down to drink coffee on the street. What they see is not the skyscrapers out there, but buildings that's been built 500 years ago. And when they go down there to drink coffee, it's not small, it's not a paper cup, Starbucks. Yeah, you drink coffee out of those little porcelain cups. Yeah, and drinking not latte or American, yeah. But you're drinking Italiano espresso. We want our developers to be in that environment for multiple months, every single year, so they're mentally converted to a Western designer.
What are the things that you've had to do in the last 11 years to evolve your marketing to fit the changing landscapes and the objectives that you've laid out for the company?
Well, back then we didn't realize, we didn't really track the ROI.
Right.
And a couple years, actually like 2-3 years later, and there was one day I realized, and I went through all the data, and then ROI numbers came out. Facebook was actually ranked #1 among all our marketing channel partners. And that's where we started to like refocus all our marketing efforts onto Facebook. And that was a great return. And so today, IGG, we're no longer CPI driven. My marketing team right now is actually ROI driven now. Yeah, actually by spending 10 times on Facebook, actually we're getting probably like 12-15 times back. So actually it's a good deal to do as compared to some really cheap traffic, and then there's a lot of problem with it. For example, there's a lot of fake installations.
Right.
And there's fake installation is one of the problems that's really difficult for us for game publishers to face.
How closely do you track, the users? Like you talk about ROI, I'm assuming you know like the lifetime value of these users that you bring on board.
Yeah, of course. So basically, we have data for 3 months, 6 months. With our data, we're able to project by the behavior of these players, we'll be able to tell what their lifetime value will be. And then we compare that to our user acquisition cost, if it's a positive number. And if it becomes positive within the 6 months or so, it's a good quality game. And then afterwards you'll have to spend your marketing dollars to push the game to the next level. So we do have a very sophisticated data analysis system in place. Before we don't. That's why we don't even know like what the ROIs for different channels are. Right. We only were able to track like the cost per install. And well, back then in PC games, that's what matters. Yep. But then when it comes to mobile game, especially like you're targeting a global audiences, and then the cost per install will be fluctuated greatly across the globe. For example, in the US, you're paying $10, $15 per install. In Vietnam, you're paying 50 cents per install. Which market has a better ROI? You don't know until you figure that out. And so that's why we started this sophisticated big data system, and we're able to calculate each individual ROI per channel. And that's where we found out that Facebook was probably the best of the best. And then again, we become a ROI-driven company rather than a CPI-driven company. Otherwise, we would be like trying to spend all our marketing budget on like cheap traffic only. That means we'll have to go to Philippines or Vietnam.
Right.
However, actually like US market, European markets, and also like China markets are actually the biggest markets. And that's where we're talking right now.
This is interesting for me, and forgive me, I need to ask this a little bit more. I often hear from a lot of our partners in China and even like across Asia, they say like, yes, we value high value users and gamers, but we also want the 量, which is the volume. What is your view on that? I understand you're super data analytical. I'm just curious to hear what do you think about the value versus volume argument that takes place very often?
Well, it's really it's actually like 3 years ago. I went over to Facebook, and one of the sales guy told me, "Hey, Kevin, you guys are bidding too low. You should bid higher." And I was like, "Really? Shall I bid $30 per install?" They were like, "Yes." Well, bidding higher does not mean the CPI is that high.
Right.
So you bid at $30, you probably get the install for like $10. Right, so that's probably one of the secrets. But however, I think more importantly is the creatives that makes the difference. Yeah, 'cause end of the day, Facebook looks at the CPM, right? eCPM, and if you with good creatives, your eCPM will be very high, and then you get a lot of volume that way. So today, it's no longer. We're no longer doing like those little banner ads anymore. Everything is video ads, and we're not really like doing it all by ourselves. We outsource them, and we also working together with advertisement companies from Hollywood to shoot real person videos. I mean, the video ads is not that easy, simple to create. I mean, it takes time. It takes a lot of money to do so. Some of our video ads, we spend over $1 million to shoot it in Hollywood. So that's actually, this is what's taking us to the higher next stage.
The one thing that I also noticed on the Chinese charts, majority of the games there are ARPG and RPG games. What is IGG's strategy when it comes to shaping your portfolio?
Well, again, we try to build everything. So on an annual basis, we build 15 different games. And then we launch it to the market. And based on the ROI, we'll pick one. We'll cherry pick one and then market the hell out of it. So it turns out to be, for 2016, Lords Mobile was the most successful one. And then we focus all our marketing efforts to that game. So it's not really like we pick the genre and to launch a game. Right. It's really the market picks the game and then we follow it. So luckily, Lords Mobile, being a strategy game, and then was chosen by the market, and then we just spent our marketing efforts behind it to push it to a high level.
Any advice for new developers or companies, gaming companies out there who think that they want to be a strong global gaming company as well? Any words of wisdom for them that you'd like them to take away from this conversation?
Well, really, it's I guess a game genre doesn't really matter. I mean, you build an RPG, it might work. You build a strategy game, it might work. You never know. Or a MOBA, it might work. However, most importantly is the marketing efforts behind it. Because a lot of game companies, they think, oh, we're a game company. So our sole purpose is to build a good game. However, today, the success of a game company relies on the game itself, global operations, and also your marketing efforts.
Fascinating. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much, Kevin. That was really interesting. I hope everyone who watches this takes that away. And thanks for sharing all the insight about how you drove from a CPI to an ROI perspective and your globalization view. Truly appreciate that. Thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks.